Congratulations, friends. We have a reincarnation of Sergio Ramos. Did you see how Asencio cleared the ball? If you didn't look at the number, I would say that was Ramos. Raul Asencio's style brings back the vibes of Sergio Ramos, pure passion and class. His name is Raul Asencio, just like two legends of Madrid, but his heart belongs to Sergio Ramos. The kid has a great future ahead of him. Madrid fans were thrilled after the Champions League match against Liverpool with the performance of the young club graduate, Raul Asencio. With all the injuries in the team, he got a spot in the starting lineup and showcased some quality football. Although this was just his third game with the senior team, everyone was amazed at how effortlessly he played. Even though this was just his third game with the senior team, everyone was amazed at how effortlessly he played. The 21-year-old defender has adapted to the demands of the first team. He took over the game with the ball at his feet. He went into duels fearlessly and commanded his teammates with captain-like impudence, even though just yesterday he was playing in the third Spanish division. But then Tchouaméni turned to the field and Asencio became a reserve player again. Not trusted. The Madrid coaches. Later in this video, we will figure out who is better in the position of central defender Asencio or Tchouaméni. We'll also dive into the scandalous story that could have derailed the player's career. Give this video a thumbs up, and we're already getting started. 2017 year. Raul Asencio is 14 years old. It was in this year that he joined the Madrid Academy, having previously played football in his native Canary Islands, where he was born. You think everything came easy for this kid in our academy? No. And once again, no. It took him 6 years before he made it to the Castilla squad. At that time, he was already 20 years old. The academy coaches just didn't believe in the defender, and he didn't have many chances to break through. Here's what the journalist says. All the coaches noted Asencio's character, but emphasized that he has many shortcomings, both in terms of technique and tactical training. One of Madrid's coaches told me that Asencio's first good season didn't come until he was 20, because he wasn't particularly talented. But we all know that Asencio wasn't really trusted. Here's an example from the summer of 2024. Along with Asencio, the first team call-up includes central defenders, 17-year-old John Martinez and 20-year-old Jacobo Ramon. They actually believe in them, but not in Asencio. They were ready to sell Asencio. Last summer, he was approached by the Manchester City holding, offered Madrid 6 million euros. Raul was supposed to go to Girona, but you know what this guy said in response? He turned down the transfer. He agreed to keep playing for Castilla and wait for his chance with the main Madrid team. Isn't that character? And he really did wait for his chance. There have been a lot of injuries. In the match against Osasuna, Militao left the field with a serious injury. Instead, Asencio came on in his debut match. At the end of the first half, he made a perfect assist to Bellingham, and everyone was immediately amazed. But these were simply people who did not see that Raul made the same broadcasts regularly at the Madrid Academy, and here he performed them for the general public. Asencio is impressive. He shows confidence and plays reliably. I can see how confident he is in his skills, and he never hesitates to go in for a challenge. At the same time, he plays carefully and reliably. He's always focused. Carlos spoke and continued to put Asencio in the starting lineup for 4 games in a row after his debut. And then Raul found himself back on the bench again. And let's now try to understand why coaches trust the European many more. Asencio's average match rating according to SofaScore is 7.15, while Tchouaméni is just below 7. Asencio averages 0.5 tackles as the last defender per match, while Tchouaméni has none. Average passing accuracy is also important. Asencio has an accuracy of 94.6, while Tchouaméni 93.27. Fouls per match for Asencio, 0.5 per match. Tchouaméni commits a few more fouls. Asencio has slightly fewer aerial duels won than Tchouaméni ground duels per match for Asencio. There are slightly more of them than the Tchouaméni. Overall, there are pros and cons, but statistically these defenders are similar, although Tchouaméni is a defensive midfielder. But still, let's agree, it feels like Asencio is sitting on the bench unfairly. I think it has to do with the player's character, which stands out and is definitely something we like. And this was especially evident in the recent match against Mallorca. Do you remember well? Where there was another scandal between Mallorca defender Maffeo and Mini Jr. And you remember what Asencio said back then. Get off the field, you're terrible. He addressed these words specifically to the Mafia. And then he even got involved in a scuffle after the final whistle. Where to? He showed his character, how fierce he is, how determined he is, and made the fans remember Sergio Ramos. He was exactly. But there was a moment in Asencio's life that could have ruined his career. In September 2023, the Spanish Civil Guard arrested 3 representatives from the Madrid Academy on suspicion of distributing a sex video involving a minor. It is noted that the sexual act was consensual, but the players distributed the video via WhatsApp. Later, it turned out that Asencio was also involved in the case. In the end, Raul was the only one among the players involved in the case whose contract wasn't terminated. Well, then it became known that the court did not even consider the player as a suspect and assigned him the status of a witness. As for the case, he wasn't in the room at the time the video was recorded and didn't share that clip. Moreover, Raul asked his teammates to delete the video recordings, but he didn't manage to do it before they were shared. One of the girls has already confirmed the truth of this version. Moreover, Raul asked his teammates to delete the video recordings, but he didn't manage to do it before they were shared. One of the girls has already confirmed the truth of this version. It was an unpleasant moment from which Asencio came out just as a witness, but it could have turned out very differently, and Asencio could have ruined his career. But now we're back to the pressing question. So why isn't Asencio starting for Madrid? Why is Tchouaméni always starting on the field from the first minute, especially when Madrid is in such terrible form, like in the last match against Barcelona? Raul Asencio is preferred over Tchouaméni. Raul Asencio is explosive with great acceleration, passion, effort, and pressure. Raul Asencio looks better, more preferable than Tchouaméni. Because Raul Asencio is more explosive, he has great acceleration, he really goes after any opponent, he shows passion, he shows effort, he brings the pressure. In this regard, Tchouaméni is more academic in comparison. He's calmer and not as sharp, and he doesn't have that same burst of speed. Why is this important for the right center-back position? Because on the right flank, you need to cover for Vasquez, who gets caught up in the attack. And, of course, Tchouaméni, he doesn't do that. Asencio could have easily played that down. But that's the football version. Let's consider a less football-related perspective. After all, Carlo prefers those players he really trusts, and in the team's locker room, a certain hierarchy has been established. Tchouaméni definitely holds a much higher position than young Asencio, because Tchouaméni, along with Carlo, won La Liga, won the Champions League, and he's just that French guy. Carlo values midfielders, even the central defender position, higher than the hierarchy. For Carlo, this is of great importance. The second version, or even just the theory, can't leave a player who costs 80 million euros sitting on the bench. They say that might not sit well with the management, but honestly, that's just nonsense. I don't buy it, because Florentino Perez himself has said he wants Asencio to play. So, let's get back to point one. Carlo has his hierarchy and faith in those footballers, with whom he has already gone through difficult tests. But we find ourselves at a point in the season, especially after the second consecutive loss to Barcelona, a crushing defeat with a very lackluster performance, where Carlo needs to change his principles, and Asencio could be a potential option to start. Devastating with a very lackluster game that Carlo needs to change his principles. And Asencio is an option to start. Not just in the center-back position, this hierarchy of Carlos is evident across all football positions. So maybe right now, if Carlo wants to improve our team's game, he needs to step away from his principles and look for other options. This includes trusting the young players, principles, and look for other options, including trusting the young players. Well, we talk about the youth in literally every episode. Of course, in the upcoming matches, the cup game against Celta and then against Las Palmas in La Liga, Raul Asencio should start. Both insiders and journalists from Spanish media are talking about this. We'd like to see Raul Asencio in these matches from the very start because he deserves it. Moreover, I've already placed 2 bets on Madrid winning with a margin, both against Celta and against Las Palmas. Because we will be super motivated and we're going to take those wins. You can do this too, and you can do it for real money that you can cash out through the link in the pinned comment. Go ahead, sign up, because there you'll actually find real money that you can bet and win big. And to wrap up the conversation about Asencio, his contract ends in 2026. No one believed in him, but he proved that he can play at a high level. And now the club wants to extend his contract. This, of course, makes sense, because the club bosses understand that this player could be the future of Madrid. A player of Sergio Ramos' caliber, and such players, you know, are truly special, will mark an entire football era for a particular club. Write in the comments, do you believe in the future? Asencio, why is he staying on the bench? I'm also waiting for your opinion. I read all the comments. A like and a subscription, I'd really appreciate that. Thanks for your attention. Let's keep moving through the season. Goodbye.